Sports Network and live on YouTube at GVSU Lakers. So you can actually see what we're doing here and see this patio section.
It's
Condado.
pretty sweet.
Isn't this great?
Steve, what do you think these like little fire things next to the tacos mean?
You know what? It means for me, I don't know if I
Stay
can
away.
handle it.
I got
That's
you.
right. Now
Okay.
my wife would say
But,
that's fantastic.
What about if there's two little fire things next to them? Stay way
Double
away.
warning. Double warning.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Now the taco suggestions, by the way, Lucy's Fire and the Blue Dream are two of the favorites here. We'll get into some ingredients after a while. But two of the best that are recommended, and these margaritas in front of us, which, of course, we will not be sampling while we're on the air, but afterwards we will. And
We got
it'll
a
be good
team meeting, Steve. Going to shoot out of here, so.
No, that's right.
Now or later, not for me.
You mentioned it that this is a unique time because you get the guys just for football, right? I mean, no other time like it in the season. Or the year, really, is it?
No, I mean, you think about whether it's the winter program and the winter conditioning or spring ball, obviously summertime, but we can't be around them, and those guys are leading some of those workouts, and they're working with strength coach, Coach Mitchell, doing some football. We're not around. This is the time, and a couple Mondays from now they'll start class and prepare for their next 50 years, but we got a couple weeks here, 2.5, 3 weeks that, you just can't beat it because it is. It's football. It's go eat lunch together. We have some traditions where they hang out and then have a really, really good time. Team meetings. We have some quiet time, have some one-on-one time with guys, and you just can't beat that part of it. And, the football piece, but then the forever piece, too, the next 50 years of these relationships. That's, camp's probably where a lot of those things get started and form.
Well, a week and a half in, you've had a little bit of variety of weather. You've had some heat, humidity, had some rain, probably two to deal with there. Is that good? You want a variety, or do you want it hot all the time, get everybody battled?
No, and I think, we talked about it because we had the storms. We would have been outside in the rain, but we had lightning in the area, so we went inside yesterday. And you like that because, going on the road, things change. We try to have script in a little chaos in a practice where we'll be practicing on our grass practice fields. We'll transition to Lubbers. Yesterday we were in the Kelly. Just, it's not always going to be familiar. It's not always going to be comfortable. And we talk about it quite often is discomfort equals growth. And the teams, the guys that can be comfortable and everyone else is uncomfortable, that's what really wins. That's what really dominates. That's what creates an edge. So, the heat, the humidity, you want that to acclimate for. We're going to play at 1 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon here in a couple weeks.
That's right.
So, got to be ready for it and build a little callus to it, acclimate to it.
Well, tonight we're going to focus on the defense, and we'll get into it in detail. A little while, we'll get into the D-line, linebackers, DBs, special teams, all of that for you. But coming up next, we'll get into a little bit more of what camp has been like. We'll have some fun here with coaches. We talk about this second week of the GVSU football preseason road show presented by Coors Light. We are live from Condado's Tacos and Tequilas here on Bridge Street tonight, live on LAV and the Grand Valley Sports Network, and live on YouTube. We'll be right back after this on the Grand Valley Sports Network. August 30th, the season opener, Grand Valley at Lover Stadium for you, 1 o'clock kickoff. Live from Condado's Tacos and Tequilas here on Bridge Street for you this evening. It's week 2 of the GVSU football preseason road show. All brought to you by Coors Light, distributed locally by Alliance Beverage. Steve Lloyd-Jones, head coach Scott Wooster, live on LAV and the Grand Valley Sports Network, and live on YouTube at GVSU Lakers. Coach, in a minute we'll have a little bit of fun here, but just great. A week and a half into camp, you get these guys. We're going to go into detail on what you're seeing, but you like the maturity of the guys and how they're responding so far, don't you?
Yeah, no question, Steve. And it comes down to leadership, and there were some things that been very transparent about at the end of 24, but throughout 24, but particularly the end of 24, that from a cultural standpoint that we weren't us, if that makes sense. Brotherhood, love, and trust. We talk about we all we got, and I don't know if we lived that out on the day-to-day, right? And so had a group of leaders that we did some leadership training back into January, February, and 40, 50 guys showing up on early in the morning to talk about leadership and player-led and what that looks like. And as we went through spring ball into the summer, kind of condensed that down. We got a group of 18 guys now that have lived that out all the way through back to January spring ball, like I said, the summer program, and we're seeing that now where there's an ownership on this football team that the players are running it, and it's that's what really, really powerful teams come from, is that leadership and the influence that the team takes on their makeup, their personality, their identity. And a couple guys that stand out, Anthony Cardamone and Brett Weaver, two seniors that, they're dominant players on the field, but they've really stepped up in terms of a voice and how we operate. Sion Usma-Harper, Kellen Reed, there's Jimmy Downs. There's just a tremendous crew there. But I think that, that's the difference, right? And we're feeling that, and just how we're operating, not necessarily just on the field, but in the dorm, in the CAF, all around campus.
How does that level of maturity show itself off the field? What do those guys do?
Well, and I just, you take a look at, we go to the team dinner, right? Yeah. And it's little things, but it means so much, right? You look around the cafeteria, and there's not a glass left. Chairs are pushed in. And that's what I'm talking about, maturity. Yeah. Does that win football games? I don't know. We'll find out, right? But it's man-type stuff that they're taking care of one another. The respect for that cafeteria staff. Same thing with Kistler, where we're staying in the dorm, and just all around campus. So does that necessarily, like I said, equal winning football games? No, but it's a representation of this GV and who we are and how we operate.
With head coach Scott Wooster, the GVSU Football Preseason Road Show. We're live from Condado's downtown. Condado's Tacos and Tequilas here on Bridge Street. Great stuff. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see some of the product here. The margaritas, chips and salsa, and chips and cheese. Great stuff for you. And, of course, those tacos, signature tacos that they have. Funniest moment of camp so far? What would you say?
Funniest moment of camp
Anything
so
crack
far.
You up?
Oh, yeah, we had there was a couple that got me. We do senior speeches, and the seniors have a chance to talk about their journey and give some advice to the new blues, the freshmen. And I'm not going to repeat it, but there was a couple that got me. One in particular to the transfer portal that I didn't see it coming either from him. I knew he's kind of, he's got that personality, he's a little dry sense of humor, but yeah, it caught me off guard, and it got me good. It got everybody, but there was a couple of the senior speeches, just some of the quick wit and
good humor.
Yeah, good humor.
Yeah, you got to have some of that, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have intensity, you got to have focus, but sometimes you got to laugh.
Oh, and just have fun, right? And that's again, we circle back to what we were talking about with camp. Some of the greatest memories that you're going to have nothing to do with making a play in Lever Stadium. Yeah. It's that Damster locker room, or the Brandon Carr, Matt Judon room up there, or the dorm, right? Like those are the things that you remember forever.
So tell me, so far, proudest moment as a coach. Somebody took something from the chalkboard to the field. What popped out?
100. We talk about that, the coachability, and a lot of people think coachability is yes, coach, or yes, sir, right? Yeah. That's not coachability. That's just being polite, right? I'd rather have a guy, just tell me to forget about it and go do the thing, right? So Zach Oleniziak, redshirt freshman quarterback, is having himself one heck of a camp. Obviously Schuster and all three of them, but there was two things. One, off the tape, right? Watched the tape the night before, and then the next practice got a very similar scenario, and he nailed it.
Nice.
And then individual drill, Coach Shoemaker had him double move in the pocket, step up and slide. And again, that was individual at the start of practice, and not 15 minutes later. That scenario is an 11-on-11 football, and he hit it perfectly. So you put that on the tape, and that's coachability, and that was that's what you're after. And like you said, it's coaching matters moments, right? Like those fundamentals, taking it off the screen, putting it on the field. So really, really excited to see those things. And that's not the only ones, but that one, we were doing a punt return drill that just kind of stacking and scaffolding from the progression of it, and you just see guys taking the coaching, seeing it on the tape, and getting better and growing every day. So, but the Olenisiak example was like, yes, that's it right there.
That's what we want to see. That's
Yes.
right. We're live at Condado's Tacos and Tequilas here on Bridge Street tonight. It's week 2 of the GVSU football preseason roadshow presented by Coors Light. I'm Steve Lloyd Jones with head coach Scott Wooster. Talking about camp thus far, about a week and a half into this point. So, best unexpected surprise. What? Anything catch you off guard in a good way?
Yeah, there's a couple guys. It's always that freshman year. Maybe they make some plays on scout team or flash a little bit. Maybe spring ball, but come back in this camp. And there's been quite a few of those guys. We're not heavy into the transfer portal, but based on some needs, we've taken some transfers, and a couple of those guys that they've played, but when they flash, that's exciting. So there's been quite a few of those redshirt freshmen, and then one guy in particular, Andy Hartman, plays offensive line for us, and he transferred over from Michigan State a year ago. He's probably struggled a little bit to get going, but the work he put in from January until now, and you started to see it in spring ball, and then now we're seeing it in fall camp, and it's not just a flash, it's consistently good, and just to see that move up the depth chart, and just gives you that feeling that now we got a third tackle, and he's playing at a really high level, so he would probably be the biggest one that. A guy that just the growth process, just continue to come at it, continue to go to work. Didn't have a ton of success early. It didn't matter. Just kept on showing up and doing the work, and he's playing at a really, really high level because of that.
Yeah, starting to pay off.
Yes, sir.
And how for you as a coach? How are you different from year one? Camp like that right now? Well,
and I think the biggest thing, and my wife Christina's here, so she will disagree with this, but just trying the clarity and communication piece, right? Like from a schedule, trying to get 13 months out. I think that's where I've really tried to grow because I believe that's a huge part of leadership is just the clarity and the communication. So that's a huge part of it. And then the fine line of ownership delegation, right? Trying to find the right times to delegate, and then the right times to it's on my plate. I take care of it. So I think those would be the two major areas.
All right. Well, good stuff. About a week and a half into camp right now, and again, the focus tonight is defense. So when we come back, the defensive line, we will get into that with Coach Wooster. It's week 2 of the GVSU football preseason roadshow, presented by Coors Light, live here in LAV and the Grand Valley Sports Network, and live on YouTube from Condado's Tacos and Tequilas here on Bridge Street tonight on the Grand Valley Sports Network. We'll be right back. Tacos and Tequila's signature margaritas. In fact, they're right in front of us, right here. If you're watching on YouTube at GVSU Lakers, you can see this. So picture in your mind, if you're on the radio listening, it's right to left.
It's like a dragon fruit.
Yeah, well, this is actually what we got, dragon fruit. You're right. Did you know that?
No, you see the little
oh yeah, down here
black dots thing?
All right, so this is the dragon fruit habanero with the sugar rim on it and a lime.
Going mango. Are we playing guess?
Yeah, go ahead. You guess.
Mango.
Strawberry yuzu.
Right,
house margarita with citrusy yuzu and fresh strawberry. That looks great with a lime.
Watermelon.
Over here, this is actually prickly pear lavender.
Okay. All right.
You're striking out.
I got that one, though. I got the dragon fruit.
Margarita. Now, this one you might get. What do you think here? The last one to the left, it's a light.
It's a mojito margarita.
It's a mango mint. Okay, so this is a mango mint jalapeno. How about that?
Gotcha.
So there's a little bit of, it's got one of those fire signs.
I'm not a big tequila guy.
No?
Steve, not a big margarita guy.
Look at that. It's got one of those little fire signs. Yeah, you got to be careful.
It does have 2, though.
The jalapeno.
If there's 1, you might be all right.
That's right. Well, speaking of fire, that D-line's got to lead the way on defense here.
Yes.
Talk about, and again, we're at the point in camp where everybody wants to know who's the starters, who's going to be where, and all of that. You guys are still in the process of sorting that out to some degree. So I'm not going to necessarily lead you with names, but that defensive line, where do you want to start there and talk about that group?
No, and we got to start there because that is the foundation of the defense. And we've talked about it before. We just did a team meeting a couple nights ago, Steve. This is a quarterback-centric program, but right along with that is we're going to win up front, offense and defensive line. We're going to dominate the line of scrimmage, right? Just philosophically, that is how we're built. And we'll talk about the offensive line next week, but the foundation of the defense has to be the defensive line, right? And we talk about having to run the ball, and these are philosophies that go back to my growing-up days of Bo and Woody and some of those things, right? And Bo Schembechler had talked about this, and philosophically, you have to be able to run the ball, or your defense doesn't know if they can stop the run, right? And so we're going to run the ball, and we are going to eliminate the run. And so from a front standpoint, our base front, from how we recruit to how we coach that group, bringing Coach Carruth in with his experience in this front and what they did at his last stop, that's exactly what we're after, right? And you said it, not going to necessarily talk about starters because I don't love that word. I don't like that word, right? A guy can start the game, another guy can come in and have a bigger impact, right? Mm-hmm. Impact the game. And we're through recruiting, through retention, through development, we're trying to get to that 8, 9, 10 in this room, and we feel like we're on our way to that, right? So, you're going to list out a depth chart, but, 2, 3, 4 of those defensive ends are interchangeable. 4 of those defensive tackles are interchangeable. And the point of camp, particularly in this point of camp, is trying to find that 50 tackle, that 50 end, right? Can we extend it to 10 guys? But feel really, really confident in getting that knockback, in building the foundation of the defense, and resetting the line of scrimmage with 8 guys right now, 8, 9 guys. So extremely excited.
So who are the leaders of that group? Who are you leaning on?
Yeah, so Jamari Budden was out there last year, had an injury in camp, so he didn't really get started till late. I think Davenport's where he kind of came on, Sagon, and then Davenport and contributed. But he's had a great spring. He's had a great summer in the camp. And Derek Rood's another guy that from a leadership standpoint, it does it all right and playing at a high level. Probably the guy, though, on that defensive line and we continue to build the voice, but in terms of doing everything right and then in terms of impacting practice is Kamani Potts. Has had just an awesome camp, down in, down out, and he's just doing all right now. Continue to push him to elevate the voice a little bit and bring some of those guys with him. But those 3 in particular, Ryden Graveroff, another defensive end that redshirt freshman, new to the position a year ago, was a position change out of Holland Christian, and he's really taken to it. And then we brought in a guy, Landon Van Beek, that hasn't practiced yet, just getting some clearance on previous injury, but he's looked good moving around, so excited to get him. Zaylen Martin, a couple other guys, but Kamani, Jamari, Derek, Ryder, feeling like got those 4 now, working on 5, 6.
Yeah, focusing on defense tonight here in the GVSU football preseason road show, and looking at the defensive line in particular.
Right, and then that, to me, the front we play, we call it the front crush front, right? Yeah. It's an old over defense. We're tighten down the defensive ends. They play the B gap, widen out the linebackers. We'll talk about those guys in a second. But really, you talk about the foundational piece, the basement of it, right? Where it all starts is those A gaps. And we play 2 A gap defensive tackles. And again, it's another position where we feel like there's 4. 5th is emerging. Jabril Condi really... a little bit here and there in 2024, but, this winter and spring you saw a different Jabril. And I think there is that a little bit of that mental depth chart, right? And we talk about that all the time, the mental depth chart of, working hard, but I know there's 3, 4 guys that are going to be playing right in front of me. And I think there was a little bit of that with him, but a couple of those guys graduated, a couple of those guys left. In spring ball, he knew he had to be the guy, and he's being the guy. And then we call 2 guys the twins, RJ, Ronald Jackson, and Josh Williams, redshirt freshmen that are really growing up fast. And again, a little bit of those ups and downs with young players, but starting to see a little bit more consistency, snap in, snap out. Tyus Jackson's a guy we brought in from McKendree, and he's flashed, and a little bit again, just trying to push some consistency. But that position, like it's double teams and hands on every single time. So it's a tough life in there, and they are battling, resetting in that line of scrimmage, getting the knock back, and that's where the defense, the premise of our defense starts. Cam Van Solkema is another guy. Trey Buckley, another guy. So feel really, really confident with 4, and then I think 5 and 6 are coming.
So, you always want to have depth. Everybody does. How important is versatility up front?
Yes.
You want guys, being able to be interchangeable. Does that matter?
Yeah, and in this front, it's very difficult to go from a defensive end to a defensive tackle, interior outside guy. It just body type wise and everything else.
Yeah.
But I think Landon Van Beek, that was one of the things that was intriguing in recruiting him, because he's probably just a little too big to play DN, maybe just so he is that tweener.
Yeah, 275.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he can bring us some of that versatility, but the rest of those body types, they are D tackles, they are DNs.
Okay.
But Landon that value is incredible, especially when you start talking down the road playoffs and travel rosters and all that, where you got to limit some of that depth. You don't have access to him on game day, so a guy that can do both is extremely valuable.
What's the hardest thing to, I guess, sharpen in a defensive lineman's game at this point? I'm sure they're fresh, ready to go when camp starts. What do you really have to harp on?
Well, and I think it's what you're saying right there. It's and I hate this term, but the grind, right?
Yeah.
Practice 7. O-line, D-line, just getting after it. Shoulders are sore, elbows are sore, right? Big guys moving. So I think that there's that element. And then there's the element of every defensive lineman, and we love this, right? They want to pass rush, but you earn the right to pass rush by eliminating the run. So just I want to say the monotony, right? The boredom. When you get bored, you get better of just doing that job over and over and over again, right? Resetting the line of scrimmage, hands-on, getting that knockback. I think that's the challenge in that position group.
Well, it's a group that's developing here. New names for you as you go this season, as you'll hear on the radio and watching on TV in there at Lover Stadium. That defensive line for Grand Valley setting the tone for this defense. When we come back, focusing on the linebackers as week 2 of the GVSU football preseason roadshow continues live here on LAV and the Grand Valley Sports Network. Back in a moment. Continuing live here on the Grand Valley Sports Network, show brought to you by Coors Light, distributed locally by Alliance Beverage. Steve Lloyd-Jones, head coach Scott Wooster, on the patio at Condado's here on Bridge Street. Great tacos and tequilas. In fact, the tacos, by the way, the Blue Dream is one of the favorites. It's a beef taco for you, flour soft and cool ranch shell with queso blanco, Tex-Mex, ground beef, lettuce, tomatoes, and avocado ranch sauce for you. And for me, that would work really well too, Coach, because no fire by that one.
Well, that and the Blue Dream, right? True Blue.
There you go.
Like a True Blue Wednesday. Like True Blue Dream.
That's right.
Bleaker Blue.
Well, leading the way, we talk about the defensive line, but boy, talk about making a statement. It's your linebacking group with Anthony Cardamone. By the way, Anthony Cardamone, Brett Weaver, part of D2Football.com's Elite 100 that was just named. So that's a linebacker, right tackle for Grand Valley. But, Cardamone, he leads the way in this group and on this defense.
And Anthony Cardamone, like I aforementioned, we talked about him earlier in his leadership and his ownership of this football team, but the boom core, talk about the linebackers, 3-2-1 boom, right? Coach Lewis, defensive coordinator, linebacker coach, and the heart and soul of this defense. But the leadership, not just of Anthony, and that's not to diminish because he has been incredible, but Jimmy Downs, Riley Simpson, Isaiah Johnson, there's a crew of guys that not just lead that linebacker, not just lead that the defense, but lead this football team. So it extends beyond their production and who they are impacting on the game field. But, there's an army of men in that room, right? And you can just keep rolling them out there. And everyone knows number 48, right? Drive down Lake Michigan. And you'll see number 48, right? Planting the flag. This is GV country. So Jimmy Downs came on like crazy in 2024, and we knew he was going to be that type of player. Was injured, was out with a hip the entire season the year previous, but just stepped into that role, that boundary backer, the will, and he has not missed a beat. He had a couple just this cross chop today that was like I don't have an answer to how to block it, right? And usually I'm that guy with that answer, and he's playing at an extremely, extremely high level. Riley Simpson has made his names at special teams, and he's making the most of his reps and having an impact at the SAM, the field linebacker. Torian Wyatt's a guy that walked on for us and is playing and he was another guy that kind of earned the stripes as a special teamer a year ago and really made an impact there, and now he's playing at a high level. Tommy Barnett.
Yep.
He was the guy that got me with the joke, right?
Okay.
Like Tommy got me a little dry sense of humor, and but he, it's that senior year, and again, going back to now, I grew up a Buckeye, but had tremendous respect for Bo Schembechler in Michigan football, and Bo Schembechler talked about it, right? Those who stay will be champions, right? The other part to that is your seniors have to have a great senior year, right, to have a special season. And Tommy Barnett's one of those guys, and that's the way he's playing right now. Isaiah Johnson, as I talked about, brings some versatility, and he's been in and out of camp a little bit, but when he's been in, he's been really, really good. And then a young guy, Keegan Sells, just been running around like crazy making plays. So like I said, we can go on and on. C.J. Jones is a guy that, local guy, Grand Rapids Christian, had a couple previous stops, but now he's at Grand Valley State, and from a special team standpoint, and he showed up like crazy today. A couple ran inside out and carved an angle on a wide play, a pin and pull play, and a couple interior runs fit up really nice too. So, yeah, I mean, the list is long, but distinguished at linebacker, the boom core. If the D-line's the foundation, this is the heart and soul, right? Yeah. This is the heartbeat of our defense. Coach Lewis's development. I think there's an All-American every single year, right? A guy on a pro prospect watch list, and probably bigger than that, and what the head coach appreciates is the leadership that's developed in that room, right? And I named 3-4 guys that aren't just leading that unit, aren't just leading that position, but leading the football team. And it's the heart and soul, and we could do a show on Anthony Cardamone, Jimmy Downs, and this linebacker core.
So Cardamone is maybe the marked man. I mean, he's the guy every offense has to plan
Call
around.
it a known rusher, right?
Right, yeah.
The problem, right? And, whether it's run or pass, and, being an offensive guy, like he's the known rusher. Where he's at. The quarterback knows where he's at. The center knows where he's at. The tackles know where he's at on every down, right? And, again, like the Ubuntu piece of that is, he's on the billboard, and he's on D2 Elite 100, and he gets all the press. But that's where like the Jimmy Downs and the Riley Simpsons and the Torian Wyatt and everyone's else like appreciate that.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Yeah. How does he create opportunities?
Yeah,
because he gets a lot of attention.
Well, and if you go back to 23, right, Abe Swanson, preseason All-American, and he had that kind of year, but they knew who 41 was.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, shoot. Who's this 48 guy? Right? And I think that's the evolution of it is you have this breakout, right? You put that product on tape. You put that product on tape consistently, well, you become a point of attention,
Very
right?
known.
The known rusher, the known issue, like we got to know where he's at, run or pass. And Cardi has that kind of impact.
Yeah.
Well, now Jimmy Downs, now all these other guys we just mentioned, Riley Simpson, Torian Wyatt, Tommy Barnett, C.J. Jones, all those guys right now, it's really, really difficult playing center to say there's 48, there's 47, there's 16, right?
Yeah.
A quarterback, that's a lot to process, right, when you had the field, the middle of the field and the boundary covered by 3 high-level players. And that's what I feel like our linebacker core is. You want to focus on one guy and set slides to him and make sure he's accounted for. Well, there's a couple other dudes that can get in your backfield and disrupt you too.
Well, it seems like some of these names we saw flash a little bit last year here and there. Yeah. I mean, that they were getting a taste of what it was like.
Like the Isaiah Johnson.
Yeah.
He was a guy that came in, did everything right. Redshirt freshman year, and again, it's that middle depth chart a little bit. Like, he was playing at a great level. He's playing at an extremely high level. And he's behind really good players, right? Yeah. And he's doing it on special teams a little bit. And then against Northern, he has the scoop and score, right? And got him going a little bit, and that took him into spring ball. A guy I didn't mention that I have to mention that is playing probably at one of the highest levels and probably had – you want to talk about surprise?
Mm-hmm.
I got it for you, all right? In terms of a winter, a spring, good. maturing, growing up, doing all those things. A summer, Elijah Baker.
Wow.
That's the one, right?
Okay.
Andy Hartman on the field, but just the way he changed his body. And Coach Lewis had a talk with him at the end. Man, you're doing some really good things, but at 200 pounds, it's going to be tough. Comes back at 219, 220 pounds.
Wow.
And that was 6 weeks back home, right? So, there's another guy, and he's switching numbers to 13. So jot that one down, right? So when you're doing the radio, right, 13's coming. But Elijah Baker, that's the surprise. But they flash a little bit. They get in maybe late in games. They have a special team player or two at that redshirt freshman year, maybe the sophomore year, and then spring ball is that chance to, all right, now I'm training to be an impact guy and have that summer and then come into fall camp and do it. And that's the progression we've seen.
Yeah.
Particularly in this position group.
Okay. I know you guys practice tackling with different drills. What do you call it, a donut?
We use the donut. We've made some rather large investments in tackling. I'll tell you what, too, Steve, this is cool. The rugby, right? Rugby. Yep. And there's Rydell GSI has produced some specific rugby tackling pads and the hawk tackling, right, from Seahawks, hawk roll tackle, getting the head out of it, doing some of those things. And Coach Lewis, Coach Postma, Coach Caruth have done a phenomenal job over the past few years evolving with that. And, it's really, really difficult to
practice.
To lose an impact guy on offense in camp. On a tackle, right. So you have to be masters of, you talk about coachability, masters of doing that through drills. So we've made some investments in this Rydell GSI. It's from the sport of rugby. But no, I think Coach Postman, like I said, Coach Lewis, Coach Caruth, in the box is one thing, but tackling in space particularly is probably what you're talking about. Yeah. And that's what everyone's trying to do now is isolate their best players in space. It's a difficult thing, but it's one of those things that it's really got to be done in controlled situations. We'll have a scrimmage Saturday, and some of our younger guys will do that because they haven't done it, right? But some of those guys that we know have done it and gotten out there, we don't do a ton of it 11-on-11 football, not very much.
Yeah, well, you're right. You want to get your defense ready, but boy, you don't want to get an offensive guy hurt on something like that either. So that's
Abe Swanson, balance. We were doing a tackling drill in 23, and broke his thumb. So you want to talk about the heart falling down to your stomach, right? Yeah. Watching that drill, and he comes up and he's holding his thumb, and it's like, is the risk worth, the reward of it?
Right.
I mean, this guy can tackle. Why are we doing a tackling drill?
Right.
So
I got you.
Yep.
Well, that's the linebacking group after we had previewed the defensive line. When we come back, stay with us. We're going to talk about the defensive backs and special teams for you as we highlight the defense tonight, week 2 of the GVSU Football Preseason Road Show, presented by Coors Light. We're live from Condado's here downtown. Great tacos and tequilas for you on Bridge Street, live on LAV and the Grand Valley Sports Network, and live on YouTube as well at GVSU Lakers here on the Grand Valley Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Had him in him, but just getting the opportunity to get out there is Trey Green. Trey Green had a day. What would have this been, like last Friday? Had himself a day and put himself in an awesome position to really help us out. A couple other guys at that corner position. Elijah Shabazz, Trey Sharp's a guy from Northeast Ohio, extremely talented, extremely talented, and just getting him out there, getting the reps, getting the control, and then the safety position brought in Josh Anderson from Dayton, and another guy, high level of maturity, leader. Matt Nickens from Cass Tech has taken that step and has really done a good job. Quinn Wills has been a guy that's battled some injuries over the last couple of years, but he's playing well right now. Tony Roberts, another transfer brought in, will provide some depth and versatility back there. So just trying to figure out the parts right now.
Yeah.
We're starting to see the flashes become a little bit more consistent. And now who's the best boundary corner? Who's the best field corner? Safety I think is starting to sort itself out a little bit. But when we go sub package, who comes in for that? So that's really what this week 2 of camp's about, right? We're feeling like we're building to that 5, 6. Would love to get to 7, right? To play those 5 spots. Would love to get to 8, just like always, right? But starting to see those guys not just flash, but put a consistent product on tape. Now it's just where do they fit best.
Do you see guys moving from that thinking their way through something to just playing?
Paralysis by analysis, right?
Yeah.
And especially early on, and we challenge them with what we do offensively with some empty and playing fast and some motions and stuff. And it's the paralysis by analysis. It's the analogy you walk into a room, the lights are off, and what are you doing?
Right.
Feeling around, right? The lights come on, and people say that light bulb moment. You got the Edison bulbs you referenced, right? But the light bulb moment, once those lights come on, guys, they let it loose and play fast. Talk about discipline, freedom. But another guy, Von Pearson, has really ate up a ton of reps this camp and putting some on there. He'll be another special team guy. A lot of these guys will be special teams guys and play on the teams and impact that way as well.
All right, so that's corners, safeties, kind of a look at the group there. Special teams.
Freshman safety, Troy Temple.
Troy Temple, talk about him.
Might be one. Circle that 22 I think he's got on. So that might be a true freshman coming in, and he's sparked.
Freshman. Wow,
he's sparked a couple times.
That's tough to adjust to that. All right, so the defensive backs there, defensive line, linebackers, DB, special teams. You've got a good group. I mean, talented guys here and some experience. Yeah. That has to be nice at the beginning of the season, doesn't it?
Start at punter, right?
Yeah.
The goal is not to punt very often, and then we got 2 All-American punters. Trace Hergich has done it for a few years. He had a little soft tissue injury. Sunday comes in last year and just flips it and pins them and does everything just like, we didn't miss a beat there. So going to have to be creative to get both those guys opportunities in some way, somehow, because they're they're great guys, great leaders. Matt Basic comes back. Yep. He shared the duties last year with Colin Kraylap, but we did some KOR, so he was kicking off today and had a great day. We haven't extended him out too much, but he finished with a 50. Jay Katie's another guy that can, rotate in there, and he's had a solid camp so far, getting going. But you take Trace, you take Sunday, you take Basic, and that's a heck of a battery right there, right? And long snapper, we had a guy that did it at a high level for a lot of years, David Kresge, all-league guy.
Sure did.
So
hardly ever said his name, which is the
best part about it, right? Best part about it.
Right.
So brought a transfer there from Toledo, a guy that we recruited out of high school, had a relationship with, and he has been awesome. Trey has snapped that thing back there. He's just, again, a mature guy, practices craft. We had a high school going camp working their camp at our place the last couple of days, and coach comes up to me and says, I just got to say this, you guys went out of their way, particularly your long snapper, working with our long snapper. And it's just, again, one of those proud moments, right? Yeah. He's working on his craft, but, he can impart that on somebody else, and just kind of sees the kid struggling a little bit, and he goes over there and helps him out. And then the return game, right? Talk about the guys kicking it off, kicking it through the uprights, flipping the field, but the return game, and we got some special returners.
Absolutely.
Kellen Reed, right?
Like Lynn Weichel, yep.
And Kellen, like I mentioned, the leadership piece of it, and we'll get next week about wide receiver, but he's made a name for himself, not just here, but nationally, as a kickoff returner.
Absolutely.
And he hasn't missed a beat. We did some KOR today. So really excited about him. Alex McLean, Lynn Weichel, got some other guys to complement him, but he's dynamic, to say the least.
He is. No, absolutely. It'll be fun to watch as we get into the season, August 30th with the kickoff. We'll be back to wrap things up after this here on the Grand Valley Sports Network. Here, week 2 of the GVSU Football Preseason Roadshow, presented by Coors Light, live here on the Grand Valley Sports Network and live on YouTube at GVSU Lakers. Great to have you with us watching the show tonight. Next week, we're at Snug Harbor, so plan for that there in Grand Haven.
Spots.
Yeah, it's a great one, isn't it? We are at Condado's tonight. Condado's downtown. Tacos and Tequilas here on Bridge Street. Big thank you to Dennis and his staff for great food and drinks, which we'll be able to take part in when we're done. But
got a team meeting, Steve.
Tell me
how it goes.
All right, I'll stay away from the fire. All right. So scrimmage Saturday.
Yeah.
7 o'clock. Officials, right? Coming in like normal. So how does this break this down for us?
Yeah, so it's kind of that opportunity, one, just to get in front, under the bright lights, right? Turn on the lights, get out there, catch some balls and lights and return all that. But I kind of joke with our guys, there's more people at our fall scrimmage than was at my homecoming game my senior year, right, in college. But come on out. We want people there. We want kind of that, a little bit of a game atmosphere, and that's an open practice, and we want people to come out, try to get what we call our new blues, our freshmen out there, get that experience underneath the lights, playing some ball in Lubber Stadium, but just kind of, put some touches on, we got another 2-3 days of camp the following week, but just see where guys are at, especially under the bright lights, right? You do all this work,
doesn't it?
You do all this work in the dark, right? All this work in the dark in the early mornings and everything else. And now, there's that ability to flip the switch when the lights come on. And so we're excited about it now. Been obsessing, part of the head coach's role is, obsessing over this weather app, and it looks like it's pushing. Looks like it's pushing because early in the week it was calling for rain like right at 8 o'clock, and now what do we got? Just updated. No, it's not till 10 p.m. So, yes, come on out.
There's a good window.
Perfect. Perfect night for football in Lubber Stadium.
That's right. So that's 2 weeks from the opener. So, you get a chance to see guys play, and then, that's offense, defense. You're not telling them what's coming. It's just like a game, right?
Yeah, and typically we do some different scrimmage scenarios, but this one's going to be we're going to put the ball down and play. We got a second down play result. We got a couple situations, but we're just going to put the ball down and play. We won't be tackling very much. Maybe the young guys to get out there a little bit, but get the officials, feel the operation, feel the lights, and just take that next step towards the 30th.
Well, and you as coaches, you get to hone in on, hey, what am I seeing in like a game-type atmosphere? Well, we got to sharpen there for a couple of weeks, right?
Absolutely. And so we'll come back that Saturday night. We'll practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Snug Harbor Thursday morning, and then we'll give them a little bit of a break, and then we'll start game prep. We'll get into Lincoln and start our game week. Classes will start that Monday. So, I really like that week coming out of scrimmage because, again, it's the fine-tuning based on what you see out of that scrimmage, what situations, where do we have to really go, what evolution of things that we, maybe we didn't, coming out of spring we thought we were really good at, but maybe we back off on that, but we're getting really good at this, so let's lean into that a little bit more. So
30 seconds.
Exciting times.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Scott, and good luck with that as you go through camp. Our thanks tonight to Condado's here downtown on Bridge Street for their great hosting of our Week 2 show. Thanks to Chad back in the studio as well. Well, next week, join us at Snug Harbor in Grand Haven for Week 3. That'll do it. For head coach Scott Wooster, I'm Steve Lloyd-Jones. Thanks for listening tonight here on the Grand Valley Sports Network. So long, everybody.